But let me introduce you to some aliens.
What?
On this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Launch platforms discussed.
They will do everything to avoid that scenario.
The protests explained. Rockstar's fired over 30 employees last week. Plus, ghosts, boats, and little green men. I want to talk about the devil tree of Miami. It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Welcome to episode 98 of GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show. I'm your host, James JJ Jarvis, and we only have 365 days to go, or thereabouts, or about 52 episodes of GTA 6 o'clock left until the launch of GTA 6. Only 52. Now, I'm sorry that you didn't get Trailer 3 last week, but I did tell you that wasn't going to happen. I'm looking at you specifically, Dan. I did tell you it wasn't going to happen because you're in the studio with me, and that is how your introduction is going this week. So welcome to episode 98.
Thank you. Pleased to be here. I like the number 98. Reminds me of FIFA 98. The best FIFA. No further questions.
Okay, good. And for those of you who aren't old enough to remember FIFA 98, it was the FIFA games that they did before it became EA Sports FC. As I touched on then, Dan, briefly, disappointed about no Trailer 3?
Not really, because I don't think anyone meaningfully thought it was coming, did they? So
no one in this room.
Can't miss what you don't expect.
Also, what happened last week was the announcement of Red Dead Redemption coming to what we're going to call current gen systems, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. How about that?
Well, I covered this on the GTA 6 o'clock newsletter last week, covering the social media reaction to this announcement. I think it's fair to say it's tepid to neutral. People seem to be like, they're just angry, right? They're angry about GTA 6. I think everyone had worked themselves up to believe that before they remastered, they're not even remastering, they're just kind of offering you Red Dead Redemption again with upgrades that some people are a bit annoyed about because it's like 4K, 60 frames a second. A lot of this is kind of like available through upgrades on existing versions. It is coming to like new platforms. So it's coming to mobile, it's coming to Switch 2.
It's coming to Netflix.
Yeah, these are good things. You know, it's broadening the footprint. It'd be a good version of a very good older video game. Should be a good thing. Also, to add, they're releasing Undead Nightmare, which is the sort of cowboys versus zombies. Some people call it, one of the best pieces of, I guess, DLC or story episodic content there is. These are all good things. It's been greeted, though, not like a good thing so much, but more neutral to a bit annoyed. And I think people are saying, I wished we'd had Red Dead Redemption 2 remastered because the internet's talked itself into believing that was true. Or, like a lot of people want, GTA 4 remastered. It's neither of those things.
It is not.
And I think, it's good news. It's just not great news. Sure. And right now it needs great news level stuff to cause some deflection or to get people back on side, I guess. Is there anything more to add, or do you feel like unusually positive about it?
No, I mean, yeah, like you say, it's another platform. It's another way that people can experience the first game in that series. Does Red Dead Redemption 2 really need a remaster? Like, it's a pretty stunning looking game as it is.
It's just about the best looking game available still, especially for playing on PC.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty good on, like you can play it through your it's not a PS5 version, but you can play it through your PS5. Looks great.
I'm not particularly clambering for a remake of that game. I'm going to say that because I don't think it needs it. I can play it on current gen systems. It runs really well. It looks amazing. I don't know what a next gen version of that game looks like, or not even a next gen because it came out on this gen.
Yeah,
like I don't know what an upgraded version of that game looks like. So
it feels unusual. I would rather, if they were the only choices, GTA 4 all the way for me.
Of course, and because then you get all of the GTA 4 and GTA 5 on the current systems that we're playing on, and that can tide you over to GTA 6 because you've only got a year to wait. Speaking of that, right now, as you listen to this podcast, it is late 2025, which was the initial release date of GTA 6 when they first put out that tentative, like, coming late 2025. That's right now. So just imagine that. In another world, in the multiverse, this could be the time when we're all actually playing GTA 6.
I've had to mentally uninhabit that space. But you're right. We would have been, had things gone serenely, playing it right now. It just doesn't feel, it just feels like that never happened. It never happened. I can't feel regret for something that I'd put out of my mind.
No. And I think there's, if you were looking at it as a skeptic, you would say that date was never going to be hit anyway. And it was just part of the beats of like, we'll say it's coming in this date, and maybe we have to delay it a bit to later on. It's not like Rockstar doesn't have form for doing that. Unlike some other companies, if they say it's coming late 2025, you'd go, all right, probably is, but not in this case.
It's quite a good moment as well to flag something someone had said in comments, and thank you for this, was that I'd said Rockstar have never shifted a dated release. Now, people were saying they have, but it was going back to literally like 2009. So, yes, you're right. It's just a very long time ago. Probably, you could, you've got me banged to rights, but in the last mere 15 years, the record's pretty solid.
Well, you should have remembered that far back.
So yeah, it's an absolutely fair point. And I think, like I've also talked about in the newsletter, there's things they used to do they no longer do. Like they used to have a favourite day for trailers that's no longer the favourite day, and now it's Tuesday. And that's very normal because companies they're not sentient. They're a collection of people. People come and go, and people have different habits and different best practices and different behaviours. So often some of these things lock in for the period those people work there. Sometimes they survive generations of people because that's how we do things. The new person comes in, we always release on a Tuesday. They might go, no, I'm telling you it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff is real. So, going that far back, I didn't feel it that conclusive to look back that far. But you are right. So I apologise.
Yeah. Well, on the same vein of calling each other out, I might have said last week that Rockstar never released a game in November. And in fact, Manhunt came out in November. So I was equally wrong.
Oh well.
Manhunt, that game that came out 20 years ago. And I just didn't, I was going through the release dates and I missed that one.
Yeah, and I was there first time around. I just couldn't remember it was out in November.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, then one of the stories that we didn't cover last week because we had so much to talk about in terms of the delay, etc., were the protests that are going on at Rockstar right now. So if you haven't got the full background on this, the story goes that Rockstar's fired over 30 employees last week, leading workers to gather outside the offices in protest of what the Independent Workers of Great Britain Union alleges was a brazen act of union busting. PC Gamers added that Rockstar parent company Take-Two said it fired the workers for gross misconduct, and then, in a statement to Bloomberg last week, said the workers were distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum, and that the abrupt firing was in no way related to people's right to join a union or engage in union activities. There are more protests planned this week in London and Paris on November 14th. That's already happened as you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And in Edinburgh on November the 18th, which is today as we record this, yesterday as you listen to it, because now it is Wednesday. So there's a few people in the comments last week who wanted us to cover this. So we're just going to give you the facts, which are those things. And I don't think we're going to go too much deeper into that right now because this is a very complicated and legally fueled issue, right?
Yeah, this is exactly, I touched on this in the newsletter last week, almost to say, here's why we are not saying more about it or coming out definitively. Pick a side, like the internet demands, right? The reason is, and I said there's two factors. One, this is a live, deeply sensitive situation where you're balancing up two different sets of claims from two different parties. You might intuitively go, I instinctively side with this side over the other, right? And you might really believe that to be true. But I definitively cannot say either way, right? Then the second part of this is, and this is unfortunately part of a lot of things in the world right now, your reaction to this story is like embroiled by your own sort of potentially intractable and passionate political beliefs. And I think it's very difficult to talk about this in a way that doesn't somehow become like a political football or something that's very difficult. What I do hope, and say this is a very glib statement, is that I hope the matter resolves swiftly. And I've said this also on the show, there's a tension between worker unionization, the current sentiment within the studio and that creates, and basically Rockstar facing the pressure of having to ship the most ambitious game in the world in the next under 12 months now. So there's a lot of tensions at play. Like, this isn't going away. You've just mentioned there's more protests happening, like as we spoke or as we speak. This was talked about in UK Parliament. There was apparently a letter written from current Rockstar staff, asking that the staff who were fired were installed in their jobs. It's a very knotty situation. So please don't think we're ignoring it, but I think it would be naive, like a lot of people have waded in to go, I think X, like you can do that. You are not privy to this interior conversation. And it may be as simple as you think it looks, but you have to consider the fact that it might not be. Yeah,
there's lots of different discussions going on around this. We will, of course, keep tabs on it. If there are more updates, we will let you know how that is going. I mean, I personally don't see those workers even wanting to go back to those jobs, but let's see what happens. More updates from us as things.
I'll just say one more thing on it, and that is the obsession is about to unionize or not to unionize. One framing of it could be fair versus what's not fair. Unionization is one way that workers can achieve what they see as fair pay, fair conditions. But in theory, you can achieve that without a union, right? Now, it could be that they've tried to do that and it hasn't gone that way, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I shouldn't speculate. But I think what is at the heart of all of it, and I hope where we can all agree, is the people who are making GTA 6 get to do so in as equitable an environment as possible. Beyond that, it's an internal company matter that is sprawled out into the public.
Now, away from the news about the protests and the delays, etc., we're now heading into what we expect is going to be a reasonably quiet time for GTA 6 news. And this is the prime opportunity for a lot of unfounded and simply made up rumors and leaks to appear on the internet with people who are desperately trying to one up each other on social media, etc., etc. So do not be surprised if you start seeing a lot of posts over the next few weeks at least of new rumors, new leaks, new insider information of I've heard this thing. And it's from someone you've maybe never heard of before with no citations or anything like that. I think that is going to happen because obviously people are really wanting Trailer 3 to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to get any news for at least the next few weeks. So be wary of that. But what this does lead us towards is one of the hot topics this week seemed to be that GTA 6 could come to Switch 2, which personally I'm very unconvinced that will happen. But it does sort of lead us into a more sensible conversation that we started having last week about which platforms GTA 6 will launch on or come to. I think we're all in agreement that it will definitely come to PS5, Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S on launch. That feels like safe platforms.
That's the stated ambition. You would expect it. There might be within that PS5 and Xbox Series X largely interchangeable. There will be, I guess this is an adjunct to the Switch 2 conversation. Xbox Series S is a less powerful machine that potentially grounds the base level version of this game. And then your conversation becomes, is Xbox Series S basically sufficiently low in power to make a Switch 2 version feasible? Some would say yes, some would say no. Probably, I feel like Switch 2, like you've said. Can the hardware hack it? Massive question mark. Is there a commercial imperative to do it given the Switch's install base? Maybe, but it just feels all to me a bit convoluted, a bit of a rush. The Switch 2 install base is fast growing, but it's still a console in the first year of its life. So from a technical reason and a commercial standpoint reason, it doesn't feel that probable to me.
No, I agree. And then we have to look at, I guess, the second phase of releasing, which could be, this is when we're talking about sort of PC releases, which we anticipate to be 6 months, possibly up to a year, maybe more after the original release. At that point, you're potentially looking at PlayStation 6 and a new Xbox release, because we're 2 years after the release date, which is now November 2026. So we're talking 2028.
Yeah.
So those new machines feel like they will be around about coming into existence by then.
Yeah.
So yes, PS6, Xbox. Now this could be around the time where you do get, or in between there, a Switch 2 version. Like if Rockstar really wanted to put it on all platforms, you could see them putting the game out and then a sub-team working on a port or licensing out it to a different studio to go port this over to Switch 2, please, and see what you can do with it. Like maybe.
And that's what the Red Redemption release is, a separate team working with Rockstar to create it. They've got history for doing that, haven't they? So.
Yeah. So maybe. Then, you'll get your PC release. Will it release on Steam machine? Will it be compatible with Steam's new box? Like that is, on paper, just about as powerful as a PS5, maybe slightly under. So it does tick the boxes of like, if it runs on Series S, it should be able to run on a Steam machine. And obviously, no one's actually seen that running high-end games yet. So it could have a lot of efficiencies in there. I feel like it's probably going to work on that machine.
Yeah, I feel like that would work.
And then you've got, the other platforms like Netflix, which obviously just launched Red Dead 1 on Netflix. They're testing a beta version right now, or a beta version, depending on where you live, right now, of the gaming service that you can select a game on your TV and then control it with your phone as like a sort of controller. What are we in? 3 years' time, that technology could have developed enough to be able to maybe you connect a controller via Bluetooth to your phone, and then you can you've got a 3-way gateway to controlling something on your phone with a controller in your hand and playing it on Netflix. I can see them wanting, experimenting with, in 3 years' time, what does gaming look like on Netflix? Maybe at some point we can put one of our big titles on there. So, I wouldn't be sad about it.
Even going back to 2013, and this is different management, I remember interviewing Leslie Benzies, who talked about GTA having a cloud-based future and it living beyond platforms. We're 12 years on from that point, and as you say, the dates you're talking about will be more like 15 years on.
Yeah.
So we've all probably tried cloud gaming. We've probably all had various experiences with cloud gaming. It's okay. It's not bad. Sometimes it runs quite well, but for a game purportedly as technically demanding as GTA, it just feels like it's going to take some pretty good tech to be a thing that you can just watch through your TV or through a portal service.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the kind of thing that's going to happen now. And I also don't think GTA 6 is going to be the test bed for that kind of system.
Yeah.
You'd want to be playing some kind of live service games on there first and some other releases, and then I think Rockstar might look at it as a viable platform. Right now, to be clear, I don't think that is going to happen. But let's see. I haven't played Red Dead on Netflix yet. Maybe I'll give it a go this weekend and it'll actually be really good. I will report back if that happens. On a similar vein, we've had a question from Paul via email, who said, quick question for you both. Given the delay to GTA 6, could we see the November 19th deadline pushed out to 2027? And crucially, would this make it a PS6 only game? And I think this has been some of the discourse around the most recent delay. It's like, what if it gets delayed again?
This is actually quite a good question to answer, because the answer is, I feel like almost definitively, and I hate to say this, yes and no. Now, the reason yes...
The best type of answer. It's both things.
It's both, well, but like yes to the first part, no to the second.
Right.
So the first part of the question is, could we see the November 18th deadline be pushed out to 2027? Yes, is the sad answer to that. And I think yes, up until March 31st, 2027.
Until the financial year.
When the financial year changes.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, it's not that they can't delay it beyond that, but it becomes then a whole thing of Strauss-Zelnick having to tell investors, we baked in 2-3 whatever billion dollars of revenue we expect in this financial year. That's gone now. That would have a really meaningful effect on their share price, really affect investor confidence. It would be a financially significant move. If you consider that their share price fell 5-6%, whatever it was, based on the 6-month delay, still within the same fiscal year, to go outside of the fiscal year, it could be a big drop. And that's really, really bad news for them. They will do everything to avoid that scenario. But with up to March 31st, I think it's a possibility. And not unprecedented. It's a possibility. Now, would this make it a PS6 only game? There's many reasons why this is a no.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I mean, unless you disagree, but what do you think? Why is this a no?
Well, number one, you're not leaving behind that established install base of however many millions of consoles, PS5 and Xbox. I don't know. It's got to be, let me take a finger in the air guess, 30 million, let me say, across both platforms. Dan's trying to look it up.
Well, I'm looking it up, so I'm cheating. It's way more. So like PlayStation active user base is somewhere in the sort of 80 to 120 million mark.
Oh, I guess that's across PS4 as well, though, right?
Yeah, probably. That's PlayStation's monthly active users.
Fine.
And then, Xbox is, pick your number, somewhere like a third of. So, like, on record, Sony has sold 75 million PS5 consoles as of February 2025. Xbox was tracking, believe your figures, a third of that, maybe a bit less. It's about 100 million user base.
There you go. Yeah.
You don't ignore 100 million console players. You can't.
No, you can't just not release a game on that platform, especially because it is currently being developed for those platforms.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to suddenly have a step change and go, actually, now we've got all this new power. Let's go back again and redo some of these things and upgrade everything and make it look even prettier. Like, of course they want to do that and will do that for the enhanced edition.
Yes.
But they're not going to suddenly rip everything
up.
Like
abandon the PS5 versions.
No.
And abandon the Xbox Series X and abandon Xbox Series S and make the base level of the game for PS6, which doesn't even exist officially.
Yeah.
There's so many things that aren't aligned about this. So, no.
But I mean, that's good news, right?
Yeah, it is good news.
Good news for your PS5 and current Xbox Series owners. You will get GTA 6 on your consoles. Do not worry about that. It is happening. No, even if this gets pushed to 2027, even if it misses that financial cutoff and it goes late 2027, even if in the middle of 2027, Sony officially announces PlayStation 6 is in development in the summer, you're still getting GTA 6 on PS5 and Xbox. Do not worry. But yes, thank you, Paul, for your question. Hopefully that has answered it for you. On a similar vein, Charlie, via email, asked, are we going to get longer timeframes between announcement and release from Rockstar in the future, similar to what has been happening with Bethesda and Elder Scrolls 6? I would rather they kept it a secret until the actual release, although I appreciate all the leaks didn't help them with this. I guess the question there is, because things like Elder Scrolls 6 and GTA 6 get announced multiple years before the actual release date, especially with GTA being delayed. At least with Bethesda and Elder Scrolls, they haven't really put a date on it. They've just gone, we're making it. But the question is, do you like knowing that the game is in development for 3, 4, 5 years before release, or would you prefer that the announcement is like February and they're like, and it's coming in November?
I like a little bit of anticipation. I like a little bit of a campaign. I like a sort of, bear in mind, I work in the industry, so it's in our or my favor to have a bit of stuff, bit of juice.
Something to talk about.
Yeah, something to talk about.
On the podcast.
Like having I think a year to 2 years tops feels about right, like quite a good sweet spot. Beyond that, it gets a bit sprawling. Like as we were talking, I was thinking, when was Elder Scrolls 6 announced? Can you remember when?
Yeah, it was at a Microsoft conference.
Yes.
So they must have still existed.
Yes.
Which they don't anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be sad. I'm going to say maybe it was pre-pandemic, but about 5 years ago, 2020.
Yeah, well, apparently 2018.
Yeah.
That's 7 years ago. Like, that's wild.
And the only thing we've seen from that game is that 3-second sweeping shot of a map that isn't real.
That isn't real. So you got to think that's 7 years. They talked about that game recently, effectively to say, don't expect it anytime soon. That could be a decade from pillar to post. And actually, I remember, when they announced it in 2018, part of me went, finally, they've announced it, as if it had been too long.
Yeah.
Because, Skyrim had been, oh my God, what was that like? Pre-2010s, early 2010s? I can't even remember. It felt like we waited a long time to get to the 2018 date. So 10 years feels, that's, I wish you hadn't said anything.
I'm sorry.
But for GTA 6, I think what you said is right, as in their hand was forced to a large extent, and they had the really bad leak come out of lots of stuff. It gave away the settings, the characters, loads of things were spilled. It showed the game in, truthfully, a very poor light. It was the opposite of what Rockstar aimed to achieve. Rockstar's thing's always been old Hollywood, let the work speak for itself, a little glimpse of magic, what's the thing? We sell you the sizzle, not the sausage, as the phrase goes. It was all about, the game speaks for itself, is brilliant. And to show it in that horrific, unrevealed state was the opposite of what Rockstar were about. So I think they were almost obliged for trailer 1 to go, okay, it is this, but doesn't it look amazing? So trailer 1 was only 2023. We'd had the leaks before that. And let's assume the game releases when they say it's going to release, which is November 2026.
3 years.
With 3 years, which, is very lean compared to Elder Scrolls, but still feels long, doesn't it? It does feel a bit long.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of what we're starting to see with the big franchises. So Witcher 4, for example, was announced last year at the Game Awards, end of 2024. That game, CD Projekt says, isn't coming out before 2027. So there's another 3-year gap there where you start to see a bit of the game and then essentially forget about it for a year or two. And then they're like, oh, here's another little slice that you can get excited about. I think we've seen actually a bit more of Witcher tech than anything else. They keep working with Unreal Engine and showing off not quite the game, but basically this is our target renders, and you get to see Siri and stuff in it. There's quite a lot of stuff out there. But I guess the big franchises that are up to those numbers now, Witcher 4, GTA 6, other games, I don't know what other games are in Elder Scrolls, I guess, as we've talked about, but those things seem to be announced very, very early and then not talked about again for another couple of years until it's time to start really ramping it up. The big rumor, we're going off topic here for GTA podcast, the big rumor is maybe they're going to announce Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I was thinking that as you said it.
And
new Steam machine, Half-Life 3.
But that is the kind of game that I can see them actually doing a very short campaign on, going, it is real, we have made it, it's out next week. It's the kind of thing you could see Steam maybe doing.
They're probably, they're one of a handful of people in the world who could even attempt to think about something like that. Wow, what a thing that would be. But I've been saying that for 10 to 15 years. So, hey, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, here's a controversial thing. I don't even know if I want Half-Life 3. There you go.
Good Lord. What a zinger that is.
And just to round off the show this week then, Dan, I've got some more Miami myths and legends for you. And the great thing about these myths and legends is Miami is so rich with these things and conspiracy theories and all the things we've talked about before, is that I don't think we're ever going to run out of these. I could do one of these a week for the next 52 weeks. Don't worry about that. There's loads. So, as we discussed, Miami is known for its vibrant culture, stunning beaches, and electrifying nightlife, but beneath its sunny exterior lies a treasure trove of urban myths and legends that captivate locals and visitors alike. From haunted landmarks to tales of mysterious apparitions, Miami's folklore adds a layer of intrigue to this tropical paradise. That is a quote from a website.
I was going to say, it sounded like you had been possessed by the spirit of a tour guide very briefly then.
This is my pitch for Vice City Talk Radio, where it's just a paranormal radio station. Hey, that could be a thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sort of a true crime podcast style radio station where you can actually go and investigate those crimes that are like unsolved cases that they talk about on the radio. Hey, Rockstar, give me a call. I'm waiting. A couple of these that I thought I'd pick out. The Ghost of the Miami River. This one's a good one. The Miami River obviously runs pretty much centrally through the city, and it's said to be the home of a ghostly apparition. Legend has it that the spirit of a Native American woman who perished in the river centuries ago appears on moonlit nights. She is said to wander the riverbanks searching for her lost loved ones, and visitors can explore the river's scenic trails while keeping an eye out for this ethereal figure. Now, come on. That feels like a thing that people are gonna, if isn't in the game, people are gonna say that they've maybe seen her wandering the rivers once they get to play it. A bit like the old Bigfoot rumor that we got in San Andreas. And people are like, I think I've seen him. You're like, I think I've seen the ghostly woman by the river. I think that one is another shoo-in for inclusion in the game. Any thoughts on that before I talk to you about aliens?
I believe the ghosts. And the reason I slightly went quiet was to think about something on all of the ghosts and apparition stuff and Strangers and Freaks is Dan Houser on the Lex Fridman podcast did talk about this, like how they weave myth and mystery into their games. And one of the questions was, and Lex Fridman goes, I apologize for asking this, but it's the most asked question on the community. Like, who's Gavin?
Yeah.
From Red Dead. And he did start to address it. But I think what happened is Lex Fridman read out the three competing theories amongst the community. And Dan said, I lean more to, and I might be misquoting him, ideas 1 and 2 and not 3. So he gave some steer on what it was, but not the other. And he did so almost apologize and go, maybe that was a little bit naughty. He goes, but we do sometimes drop things in that kind of can't be solved. But we want people to have the conversation and to, but even himself, he thought about what he thought the answer was, but he didn't want to give it up. And I think that's quite, as long as everything isn't like that, that's quite a nice way to do it, I think.
Yeah, so, you want a bit of mystery. And Red Dead had a lot of mysteries in it. Like, you went on the hunt for the serial killer. You got to see the UFOs and things. And having Gavin hanging around was like that final, almost, but not quite, Mount Chiliad style, like, oh, there's got to be something around here somewhere. We've got to be able to work out who this is, what their purpose is, why they're here. And it in truth, it keeps people playing. It keeps you searching for those kind of stuff, like way after the game is done, to the point that people are still talking about it now. But let me introduce you to some aliens at the Bayside Marketplace. Now, in 2023, Miami's Bayside Marketplace, located just across the street from the hotel that all of these facts are taken from. So they have a vested interest in telling people about this thing.
Please stay at our hotel. It's definitely haunted.
Yeah. It became the center of alien rumors. A chaotic New Year's Day event spiraled into speculation of extraterrestrial sightings fueled by grainy videos shared on social media. You know, as we talked about, if GTA is leaning towards a social media aspect, this could be another thing that you see grainy videos pop up of ghosts. Unfortunately, in this case, the aliens were later identified as shadows and law enforcement officers. But it remains a favourite urban legend for locals and visitors alike.
Brackets who stay at our brilliant hotel, available for this price for ghost hunters worldwide.
There might have been an alien seen in room 102. That one is slightly more expensive because of the alien visitations.
Surely in room 51 or area 51.
Would have been better. Yeah. We've workshopped that. Good. And finally, I want to talk about the Devil Tree of Miami. Now, this is actually northeast of the lake that we, you know, if you're looking at the GTA 6 map, as we think we know it, just slightly to the northeast is where the Devil Tree of Miami is located. This is hidden within a quiet park in Coconut Grove. It's a gnarled old tree with a sinister reputation. Legend claims it was once the site of occult rituals and continues to emanate an eerie presence. Locals advise against visiting the tree after dark, as it is said to bring bad luck to those who disrespect it.
Never disrespect a tree. That's one of my life mottos.
Well,
especially a scary tree.
Can you imagine it being dark in GTA 6 and you going to a representation of the Devil Tree and you say throw a grenade at it and then something bad happens? Like it, you know.
The grenade might blow up. That would be bad.
The grenade would blow up.
Yeah.
The tree is still standing.
Oh, wow.
And then you are, I don't know, it takes off all your health or you lose a load of money or something. Like you're like, why is this weird tree doing this stuff to me? And it's because of the Devil Tree. And that then on the radio station True Crime podcast gets mentioned that somebody was trying to disrespect the tree last night
with a grenade.
And actually the tree is fine. And that person ended up in hospital.
I will say I like the name, the Devil Tree of Miami. It's evocative. Do I think we'll be bothering with a grenade? That's not for me to say right now.
Fine. All right, well, let me leave you with this then. Matt via email got in touch and wanted us to talk about boats. So said, GTA 6 will definitely have a lot of reasons to get a boat in the water. What do you think owning a boat will be like in the game? Can you own a dock and spawn in boats? Or will there be an immersive way to bring your boat onto the water, such as owning a trailer and having to hitch your truck onto the trailer and tow the boat to launch to drop it in the water? These are some questions I wanted to be emailing about for several weeks, and I thought they would be good ammunition for the podcast on slower weeks of GTA 6 news. Thank you for keeping me from going insane during GTA 6 news droughts. Kisses from Wisconsin, Matt. If you hadn't already realised at this last section of the podcast, it is a reasonably slow news week for GTA 6 news. But I think this ties very much into the fueling, no refueling debate in the, do you want to, if you own a boat, have to drive it into the water every time you want to launch it off into the waters of Vice City? I know what your answer is going to be.
If you want to pursue reality to the nth degree, and this is part of it, right? You will have to have a very large, high torque SUV to attach or pickup to attach your trailer to. That's going to burn more of the fuel that you've just spent X minutes filling up because you demanded realism. So you drive your car more slowly, I will add, because of physics and reality, to the bay, whereupon you've used more fuel. You may or may not run out of fuel on the way because you hadn't planned for it. Then you get your boat to the shore, probably needs fuel as well.
Yeah, but you can do that with a by hand. Just pour the little gas canister into it.
I'm just saying. There's reasons we don't observe reality. So I do agree. I think a streamlined version of this actually could work. Whether it's in a marquee way where you go, this mission is retrieve this boat and make a thing of taking it to the shoreline
Yeah, that feels
and that feels
realistic.
feasible and quite fun as a mission and all those things. But you wouldn't want to do that every time. And it's almost like if they set that up, then it's like this is your equivalent of a garage, but it's the sea. And
your dock.
Yeah, you pop not vehicles, boats can be selected. They pop in and out, blah blah blah, like it's always sort of worked. I think that could work, and particularly if the sea or the ocean or whatever is a bigger part of this game and there's more to do and to explore, and whether you're going atop or below, that makes sense, I think.
Yeah, it does feel like owning a boat, I think, is very feasible, and boats and water activity in general being more prevalent in GTA 6 than they were in GTA 5, I think is, we're saying in Miami, in Vice City, which is like all about luxury yachts, cruise ships. Like the Port Miami is the cruise capital of the world, according to Port Miami. But it actually is. Like it generates billions of dollars in economy. It supports like 340,000 jobs. It's a huge bit of the Miami industry, and I can't see them ignoring that. And throw in jet skis, scuba diving, all of that stuff into the mix. I think we're going to see quite a lot of water activities as well as land-based stuff, but I think it's going to be significant. Well, that about wraps us up for episode 98 of GTA 6 O'Clock. Lots of things to talk about there. Quite a varied show this week. Let us know if you've got any thoughts or questions in the comments below if you are watching or listening on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast services, why not rate the show 5 stars? And for more GTA 6 content, subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do by visiting gamesradar.com/newsletter. There will not be one this Friday, correct, Dan?
No newsletter this Friday.
So sign up and don't get a newsletter.
Yeah, don't get a newsletter. That's great. You get time to enjoy the anticipation. You see, the build-up window is huge.
We've delayed this week's newsletter till next week.
Yes, because we are involved with the Golden Joystick Awards, where you can see some of the best games of the last 12 months crowned live, and that is Thursday, November the 20th.
Yes, 4 p.m. on all of your streaming services, YouTube, Twitch. It'll be Twitch/Golden Joystick Awards. But if you go on any of those things and search for Golden Joystick Awards, you will see a live event pop up. That will be us.
And GTA 6 does have a vested interest. So it's nominated in 2 categories. One is Best Game Trailer. One is Most Wanted Game. So yeah, tune in to see if it triumphs.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dan. We will go off and make that Golden Joystick Awards show. And then we'll be back next week for another episode of GTA 6 O'Clock.